Okay, Gary, I'd entertain a motion to come out of executive session.
Mr. Mayor, I move that council certify that to the best of each member's knowledge as recognized by each council member's affirmative vote, that only such public business matters lawfully exempted from open meeting requirements under the Virginia Freedom of Information Act as were identified in the motion by which the closed meeting was convened were heard, discussed, or considered in the closed meeting by council, and that the vote of each individual member of council be taken by roll call and recorded, included in the minutes of the meeting of town council.
Second.
Thank you. There's been a motion properly made by Mr. Gillespie, seconded by Mr. T-Wall. Any discussion? Mr. Napier, you were in the meeting. Only public matters or properly disclosed matters were in the executive session. Okay. Any discussion? All those in favor, I'm sorry, need roll call. Ms. Berry, roll call, please.
Councilman Gillespie?
Yes.
Councilman Holloway?
Yes.
Councilman Meza?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Seelon?
Yes.
Councilman T-Wall?
Yes.
Councilman Thompson? Yes. And Mayor Tederick?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Sorry, I'm looking for my agenda. Apologize. Okay, so we are going to go into work session. As soon as I find my agenda. Something out there? Sorry, guys.
Which agenda?
The work session agenda.
Let's see that.
It's on the regular agenda here.
You want to know in a minute?
That'd be great. Thank you. Sorry, must have left it out on the table. Okay, I'd like to call the Town Council work session for August 12th to order, please. First item is discussion pertaining to a joint meeting with the Board of Supervisors on August 13th. As all of you know, we have a joint work session with the Board of Supervisors scheduled for tomorrow. It's going to be at 6 p.m. at the Community Center on Villa and Kendrick, right? Do all of you plan to attend? Okay, I think it's going to be a very important meeting. Gary, you plan to be there tomorrow, right? Yes, sir. Great. So the county sent over. I met with Chairman Murray, and he sent a proposed agenda. Well, we discussed the agenda at length. We cannot come to a firm decision, joint decision on their proposed agenda. What they wanted to cover, in my opinion, they wanted the bulk of the meeting to be a presentation by the EDA. Talk about EDA as a fiscal agent, EDA strategy and strategic plan update, EDA update on investment and return on industrial parks, disposition of property, client due diligence, SOP, communications overview, and EDA audit and time frame update. As I expressed with Mr. Murray, I think that's wonderful information. Necessary information, pertinent information, timely information. My concern that I raised with him individually was I just don't know that that's the best use of this joint meetings time. I felt that we can get the EDA at any point to come to a work session and discuss that information with us. We could have the EDA board. We could do a joint meeting with the EDA board and go through a lot of those questions one-on-one. In my opinion, I wasn't as keen on having a 30, 45 minutes, an hour of the meeting taken up by a one-way presentation by the EDA. So I made my position very clear, but I also let them know that I was only the mayor and I work for you guys, really. I mean, it's up to what do you want to see? To me, I wanted to see a meeting that consisted of conversation between the town and the county. Town and county hearing information, resolving information, taking action on whatever things we need to take action on. But so they sent a proposed agenda out. I am in the process of drafting a proposed agenda, which is frankly a very simple agenda of what's the future of the EDA? How can the town and county join forces for not only the betterment of the community, but also to mitigate legal fees? Should the town and county pursue a joint lawsuit against third-party entities? What are the positive and negative impacts of dissolving the EDA as it currently exists? How would it be done? And I think those items, in my opinion, are the crux of what's needed to be discussed between the town and the county. I've discussed in the past possibility of forming a committee, a citizens committee. I'm going to delay putting that on the agenda for this meeting. I think it's premature because I think depending on the future of the EDA will determine what we want citizens to look at as far as our policies and procedures. So I've talked a lot. Any comments from you? Thoughts?
The letter that Jennifer forwarded out to us from Doug Parsons and the executive chairs, I mean, I think basically summarized their position on what's going on with the EDA, and I don't think it, I mean, it's nice to see, but I don't think it's anything new, and so I'd prefer not to sit through a presentation of the restructuring of the EDA, or I shouldn't say the restructuring, I should say you know, the hopeful future as proposed by Doug Parsons and the executive committee for the EDA. I would rather answer some of the specific questions, and for the first time in a very long time, or for the first time since I've been on council, I should say, to be able to sit down with the Board of Supervisors and to be able to address head on, you know, one of the biggest disasters jointly shared between the county and town council, and be able to move forward from there. So I would prefer that we have an alternate proposed agenda for the EDA, or for the Board of Supervisor meeting.
Okay, I was very transparent with Dan, and he knew that we had differences, and the biggest difference was a presentation by the EDA. And any other comments, thoughts? Gene?
Well, you know, I agree with Jake on this. I want to know I want to get information in regards to questions that we need to have answered. I mean, as far as the EDA, we can meet with them anytime and get an overview of what they're going to do and what they're not going to do. So I'd like to see us just go into some pertinent questions and get some answers if we can.
Great.
Well, part of that agenda, which the only thing that I would agree to, from my point of view, is the EDA board through Doug Parsons are saying they need the town and the county to give direction for the EDA. And I can live with that. I truly believe that's probably what we should be discussing. The direction is, do we keep the EDA board as we know it? You're going to have to keep the IDA because the liability there is so great. You can't just, and Doug could answer that better than any one of us.
Okay.
You need a true discussion of what do they want from us?
Okay. Good. Joe, Doug, anything you guys want to add? Tasha, you good?
No, good.
Was one of your items the potential restructuring of the EDA? Is that what you said, or no?
Yeah, what would the positive and negative impacts of dissolving EDA? That's where I would probably inject some extra language during the meeting as far as possible committee be formed.
Okay.
Okay.
That'd be wonderful.
One more
Yes,
point. As we discussed, I want to know where we stand in the pecking order, to put it simple, to resolve our issues with the EDA. I want them to tell us, because it seems like we've been just brought along instead of giving answers to our problems. After them, police department, we need the answers to those questions now, not next year. That's where I'm headed.
Good. Okay. Everyone good? All right, next on the agenda, police department financing.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. We put this on here, I did send to council last week, I think it was, or the week before last, BJ's response on us not being able to make the deadline for this August deadline for the bond. And so we thought we'd put it up here after talking to the mayor to see if there were any questions or any questions that BJ could answer or I on how we move forward with this process.
Okay.
Does the response that the VJ wrote up, does that apply to conventional loans as well, not just through the?
BMO
Right.
Waco has told us that yes, no matter which route we go, we're going to have a payoff. That's going to be one of the leading factors. We need to know how much needs to be paid off in order to move forward with any application.
Why can't we say total debt service of the police department was X, and that is our payoff? And if there was any additional funds received through the EDA, overpayments or whatever, it'd be credited back.
They want a written payoff to know exactly how much is owed. They're going to want to see most likely the draw schedules, how it's been taken off. This has been a highly publicized issue, so it's being followed by many different entities. We did apply originally back in February, I believe. We applied in February. Everything came to a halt because we need this payoff.
Right, so but the monies that have been paid to the construction company to date have been through the EDA or through the town?
Through the EDA.
So the town's debt service is going to be the total debt service of the building, right?
Correct.
So how come we can't just use that number as our
There's going to be an
total debt
interest
service?
component as well. I mean, they want a payoff. I mean, I don't know.
Plus, it's our understanding that it was taken off multiple lines of credit,
Yes.
But
so
that's-
therefore we have to track
wanna
all
see
that
the
back
lines.
to the original.
The lines of credit that it was taken off of, they want a document that they can reciprocate to the bank, to the line of credit.
I know I'm making this much more simple than it actually is.
No,
I get that, but like, if the building is worth $10 million and it is not ours until we purchased it,
If we were paying the vendors, we would be okay, but because we're paying it to the EDA, that's our problem.
got it.
Everything is questioned at this point.
So there are two kind of problems in the world. My problem and everyone else's. So the question is this. Who's currently paying the debt service on the building?
The EDA.
Okay. Who has not provided us proper information in order for us to get a loan?
The EDA.
Okay.
That's my case.
So, help me. Am I missing? I mean, until they provide us the documentation that is duly owed to us so that we can help them pay off their line of credit, right?
Yep.
Am I missing anything?
No, you're not missing anything.
Okay, so we should not have any more information, any more discussion about funding the police department until we get a document that they tell us all the information that's needed, and you bless the document from a financial perspective and then present a loan.
Yep.
Jake?
One downside that, let's just play this out. Let's say it's a year from now. Now interest rates are at 6%. We're the ones who are going to absorb the penalty on that, which is why I'm getting back to.
Yeah, I don't know about
I
that.
mean, I know you can talk about how to recoup
Right.
the differences in the losses or whatever, but at the end of the day, we're going to get a loan for 6% or
Right.
whatever the increased percentage is. So the longer it goes, the more we're going to be in that boat. So the only differentiator, the only offsetting factor in that is the EDA compensating for that.
I don't know. I mean, I don't know how you force. I mean, unless we sue the EDA specifically for the police department to get us our information. I mean, I don't know how we force the EDA/county now, because they're the fiscal agent. I don't know how we get. I mean, how do we get it? I'm looking for.
That's why I made the statement. I want to know where our priorities are. This is a number one priority for us. Now we're delayed again, and your 6% is, I doubt it's going there, but it could be real. We need to know tomorrow night and tell EDA Doug Parsons, where is our priorities? We've got to know those two issues have got to be resolved. That's on our plate right now. I want to know
You're saying
that
that's
number.
a specific ask.
Yeah. If you don't ask them, they're not going to do anything. I want that board to tell us, make that a priority. It's number one. I ain't worried about what the county's got. I got to worry about this police department.
I tell you, it would be helpful if you guys could send me an email of 2 or 3 questions that you specifically feel you need addressed. I'll compile them and then we'll distribute them tomorrow. I'll run them through council and make sure it's phrased properly, but I mean, that's a reasonable question to ask the body. Okay, anything else, BJ, on police finance? Joe? Okay.
Yeah.
Gene, yes, sir.
BJ, if it's possible to get information that you need, can we get on this year's possibly?
The next application is February of 2020.
Still February.
Are we still putting funds aside for payment?
Yes, yes, as budgeted.
All right, very good. Anything else? Punch list going well?
It's going as well as can be expected.
Okay. All right, next on the agenda is the purchase of a vehicle for horticulture department. So on the draft agenda, we saw that the purchase of the vehicle was on the consent agenda. I had asked a question about the vehicle, and Joe thought it might be best to put it on a work session to talk about maybe not only the vehicle, but capital expenditures, etc. Joe, is there anything you wanted to add to that?
No, I just, for me personally, I need to know how you want to move forward. This is the first vehicle purchase in this current budget, so I need to know if I need to run all of them through work sessions, or do we follow the standard protocol? Because they've already been vetted through the budget process, and this is a consent agenda.
Yep. So that's a fair point, and he brought that to my attention, and I thought I'd bring it up to you guys. Jake?
Joe, I can't remember. I think I asked this as I first got on the council, but is there a fleet management program that shows here are the vehicles that we have at our disposal, here's how many miles we're going to run them, and then this is when we're going to replace them? Like, I remember seeing one for the police department, and in my head I have something like 3 years or something like that. They're cycled out or whatever.
We do have a policy for the police vehicles due to the high mileage, but for the other vehicles, no. They're handled on a case by case basis on departmental levels.
Well, it's 115,000, that's really not a lot of miles on most equipment. I mean, is that?
What year is it?
It is a 2003. It's a Chevy Silverado 2003. It had 115,000 miles on it.
Is that the one the doors are rusted out underneath?
Honestly, I didn't bring pictures.
No,
I should have, but I
No,
didn't.
that's fine.
We budgeted 40,000, but we're asking for $33,610.
The only question I have, why do you need a 250 instead of a regular 150? Like, all you're gonna do is haul employees and pull a mower behind it.
They use it for snow too.
Pardon?
They use it for snow too.
See, I have a problem with that. I don't think pickup should be used for snow removal, period.
They use it like, like the village and some of the smaller areas.
Well, I understand that, but we use them in areas because they go by my house and mine's wide open many times. And I have a problem with snow removal with those and those things, but I just don't see you need a 250 for horticulture. But.
So here's the point, or one of the points for why it's on a work session. I think we need to give staff, and Joe particularly, direction. Council, I don't know who's council, most of you I guess, approved the budget, and there were capital expenditures on the budget. Okay, so this item was approved in the budget, and now we're discussing details about this particular purchase. How Joe's looking for direction on, in the past, capital expenditures were budgeted and staff would move forward and acquire the capital based upon the direction that staff received. Correct, Joe?
That's correct.
So, are we changing a policy? I for one would like to see a list of the capital expenditures moving forward because of with some of these legal bills that might be coming up. I think we may need to start making some strategic changes in some of the capital, but this one came up specifically on the agenda. I think it was one of the first capital items purchased. How do you want to handle this? From a policy perspective, and then how do you want to handle this particular item? Gene?
I think we passed the budget. I brought up questions about these things, and council approved the budget. So far as I'm concerned, it ought to stand in Joe's hands. He puts it on the agenda, we approve it over the 25,000.
Okay.
And that's the way it ought to be handled.
Bill?
Well, it goes deeper. And this is in Joe's bailiwick. Why do we use a cab vehicle? I know it's, what is it, a 250? It runs around, a single guy running around that. We get this complaint. I've had the phone call. Councilman T-Wolf's had the same phone call. Why do we have a director run around a vehicle like that? If it's a cab vehicle for multi-employees. So when this popped up, that question pops up again. Joe, I think the main thing that I see you need to share with council sometime, you move the person for vehicles under your tutorage now. And you promised us last year a list of all vehicles and what the plan was, and you needed to bring it under your wing so you could get that accomplished. Is there a plan in your mind? Have you start working the plan yet?
The plan just went into effect on July 1st. As far as some of the other comments made, I can bring policies of how we determine what vehicle size goes to what person. I think it's micromanaging, personally.
Don't want to do that.
Yeah.
That falls under your bailiwick, though.
Yeah, it does. And I did, on July 1st, as part of the budget process, I elevated our fleet manager to a director of fleet management. For the simple fact of to take away that responsibility from one department head having control of all the rolling stock.
Well, you've heard the argument here.
Yeah.
You've got two issues that you as town manager need to resolve. One, does the director riding singly, is it a 350 cab, what I don't even know what you call the thing, driving a vehicle around like that when it should be multitasked with people? And the second thing is you were going to review the fleet and make sure that good logic used in the way we purchase vehicles. And if I'm speaking for you, tell me. That's the way I understood it.
Yeah, I'm working on it. Like I said, it just went into effect July 1st.
Can you post us periodically?
I will bring everything to you as soon as I have it.
Okay. So, put the item back on the next agenda? The next step?
Yeah, I basically need to know, I've got probably another 6 vehicles rolling stock that's going to be brought to council in the next 6 months. I need to know what y'all want to do. If y'all want to vet them through again through a work session, please let me know. I don't have a problem. I just need to.
We can need a problem. What's our problem? What's the policy? So, the position is.
I think we just said it.
I mean,
Policy's in effect. We're just voicing issues that have come up, and we're asking you to resolve it.
Will do.
Any other comments? Any action needed?
Well, so just so I understand, if you're talking about the policy, is the maintenance plan for the fleet going to be similar to the police department of just every 3 years the truck's replaced? Is it based on mileage? Is it just?
It's probably not going to be based the same way as the PD is. The PD is based on time, mainly, due to the average of what a vehicle will encounter.
Because it never shuts off.
Right. I think the other structures, we've got heavy, light-duty equipment versus heavy-duty equipment are going to have different criteria. There's different You know, some equipment has a 15-year lifespan, some of it we push out 20, so it's going to be different across the board. You just got to allow me and my staff enough time to put something together like this.
Good. Okay, so we put that back on the next agenda for approval. Last item, council discussion regarding goals. I am pleased to announce that I have prioritized my goals.
I have to.
And Gene has. Gary has.
Joe has mine.
Joe.
Yeah.
Okay,
We
so.
got one.
All right, so
We got
you,
two.
so let's make sure Joe gets them. Prioritize your list. I added 3 other items.
That's not adding items, it's gonna mess up my
I know.
prioritization.
Well, I think we can discuss this. When is it, 19th, Joe, or when's that meeting? 13th, no,
Next Monday.
next Monday. And that meeting's at 5 o'clock. I put reduce town government expenses as an item, public relations / communications as an item, and marketing as an item. So, but I gave you my copy, Joe. So now, what's your plan for next Monday? You're gonna take whatever feedback you get, you're gonna lead the discussion on the prioritization of the items, right? As far as the mechanics of how you're going to, are you gonna go through and tabulate them? Or?
Yeah, the idea is once I get everybody's, I'll tabulate it and somehow try to prioritize from a group as a whole. And I'll try to get that out before the end of the week. Or as soon as I get everybody's responses, I'll provide back some feedback for at least everybody will know where everybody stands.
I don't know. I think we tried to do this about 3 years ago, and we got through the first 2 topics in like 2 hours. And so I'm wondering, is it possible to set like a time limit to the schedule if we're actually going to try to tackle 20 topics, which I don't think is really possible. I mean, unless we're there all night. But let's set to our discussion to a certain time period.
That's good feedback.
Yeah, I think that, I haven't really started working on the agenda for Monday night, but my opinion is, we're gonna have to have some ground rules.
Yeah.
Just for the, we stay on target.
There's some robust topics in there that, we're not all on the same page, and we can spend easy 30 minutes talking about one of them.
Well, I agree with you,
Can't
Jake.
kill them all.
I went down and looked at the top priorities. There's a lot of things on that list that's out in the near future, way future in my opinion. But something like Crooked Run, we need to make a decision, things like that. That's where my focus is gonna be Monday night, because that's something we need to make a decision on within the next couple of months.
Okay.
And that's the way I like to see us look at it.
Okay. So when we have our staff meeting with Joe, Bill, we probably ought to really hone in on, I think it's going to be important that someone facilitates the meeting, and I don't think necessarily needs to be me. So we need somebody to facilitate the discussion of how we're going to walk through this process in a timely way. So, anything else on discussion goals? Any other items come before council for the work session? Okay, I'd entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion approved, thank you.